You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode? Hello, welcome back to the Unstoppable Actors podcast. If you're returning and if you're brand new, welcome. I hope this will be the first of many episodes that you tune into. I've got a really juicy one to dive into today with you, which is all about what other acting training isn't teaching you about nerves that you really need to know. I'm very passionate about teaching you about nerves because nerves, of course, affect all actors at some point or another with our performances. Nobody's immune from them, but it's how we deal with them that decides whether we will give a truthful, authentic, mind-blowing performance or a performance where we are literally a shell of an actor in the middle of a scene, aware that we're nervous, trying our best to remember lines and trying our best to make a truthful connection, but struggling. I know which one I would rather be, and I know which one, I'm going to take an educated guess at the one that I think you would rather be. So before I dive into this, if you enjoy this episode, please do rate it. Please do share it with your acting networks and onto your socials. It really does help me help more actors like yourself. I am very passionate that we get more unknown actors like you out into the industry because you have got stories that you need to tell. You have got characters that you need to play that only you can play. We need more unknown actors getting opportunities in the industry so these things can happen. So please do rate, review and share it. It definitely helps me help more actors like yourself. And of course, if you do enjoy the episode, just jump over to our Instagram at Standby Method Acting Studio. Drop me a DM. Let me know what your biggest takeaway has been. Let me know how it's affected you. Let me know what you're getting from the podcast. It is always so nice to put faces to listeners because, of course, I can't see who I'm talking to. Let's dive in then. So, what are other acting schools and classes not teaching you about nerves that I know that you need to know? Before we can really explore this, we need to figure out what nerves really are. Now, you might think, Louise, I already know because I've experienced nerves. But I love to go to a dictionary definition because it gives us absolute clarity over things. So nerves are defined as one's steadiness and courage in a demanding situation. And I thought that was really interesting to share in this episode because we don't ordinarily connect nerves to courage. I think what we do as actors, at least in my experience of coaching actors for 13 years and being an actress myself, we actually connect nerves to negative experiences. So nerves are one's steadiness and courage in a demanding situation. And if you take things like sex scenes or auditions or kissing scenes or even scenes where there's a lot of conflict in them, they are demanding situations. So it's actually normal that we would feel nerves, but also at the same time we have to recognise that we are being courageous by putting ourselves in those situations as actors. The dictionary also defines nerves as bracing oneself mentally to face a demanding situation. So twice this has come up, demanding situation. And I think it is fair to say that as actors, we're not doing what other people do in 9-to-5 jobs. We are emotionally stripping off, aren't we? We are bearing our souls. We're lowering barriers that people don't necessarily lower in 9-to-5 jobs. So these are demanding situations. Now, the dictionary also defines bundle of nerves as someone who is extremely anxious or tense, and that's how we ordinarily associate nerves. And in acting, nerves do induce anxiety and tension, both physical tension, emotional tension and mental tension. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you will know that I speak a lot about mental tension. What we really need to know about nerves, though, is what is actually happening in the body. It's important that you know what's happening in the body, so you know that there is nothing wrong with you as a performer. But before I share that, I put a poll inside our Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, which if you haven't already joined, please go and join it. It is one of the most supportive groups out there on socials. There's no bitchiness, there's no toxicity, no negativity. It's just support from each and every member. But the poll in there is asking what people's experiences are with nerves, what their relationship is with nerves, and how they feel about them. And I'm just going to read out a couple, well, 3 actually, comments that came in. So one actor wrote, their relationship with nerves is thinking too much of taking more risks and then realising that not taking them is actually what's putting them behind. So maybe you relate to that. Another actor wrote that their relationship with nerves is that they make them worry about the performances, but then it's the worry that probably makes them nervous. So maybe you relate to that. And then another comment that came in about their relationship with nerves from another actor is, they said, on the one hand, I think I would be worried if I didn't have nerves before a performance. I think you need that edge to perform at your best, but I admit they can get to me and I have to convince myself that I know the material, directions, and can do the performance. So maybe you relate to that. The reason I'm reading these out to you is because I need you to know that if you're a nervous actor, or you've experienced nerves in the past, or you feel nervous before performances, you're not alone. We're all experiencing them. And that's why it's such a great place to be inside the Unstoppable Actors group, because you start to quickly learn, these problems that I experience as an actor are not unique to me. We're all experiencing them. And that makes you feel a little bit better and a little bit more confident. That's what came in the Unstoppable Actors group. So what's actually going on in the body then? Let me break it down for you. Nerves happen in the nervous system. And I bet you're thinking, well, no shit, Sherlock. Yes, they do. They happen in the nervous system, which every single one of us has got because we're all human. But the nervous system becomes dysregulated. And that's something you really need to understand if you are going to become an empowered performer. So what does dysregulated mean? It means an inability to control or regulate one's emotional responses. So when the nervous system becomes dysregulated, you find it challenging to control those nerves. What normally happens is they do impede upon the performance and impact it. So let's unpack this. So the nervous system, when it's become dysregulated, it has gone beyond being able to control it, as we've just figured out. And you will know this because you will experience physical symptoms of nerves, such as a racing heart, dry mouth, shaking, going cold, needing the toilet, becoming hyper aware of everything around you, including the audience, maybe what the director's doing or the casting panel if it's an audition. So they are some of the physical symptoms of nerves. It's not an exhaustive list though, there's other things that can happen. Then there are mental things that can happen with nerves. And that would be thinking over and over and over and over about the lines and constantly running them in your mind because you're scared that you're going to forget them or that you don't know them. Also, what can happen in the mind is that you talk to yourself in not a very kind way. Like maybe you start thinking that you're going to make a fool out of yourself, or maybe you start thinking thoughts that, you don't actually really know the character that well. Have you rehearsed enough? Do I know the lines well enough? Have I done enough character prep? That's the mental tension. And then, of course, you've got the emotional tension, which is the actual feeling of the nerves. And also the emotional tension can be blockages emotionally, not being able to connect to, let's say, the sadness that's required of you in the scene or the anger. So what happens is when the nervous system has become dysregulated, which means you're unable to control the nerves, and they can feel subtle. They don't have to be really big. Like if we think on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being barely noticeable and 10 being completely taken over, they don't have to be a 10. For your nervous system to become dysregulated, we can still be on the scale of 1 or 2. What they do is they affect your pure imagination. So you cannot access your pure imagination. And acting is all an act of imagination. Now, why has this happened? This has happened not because there's anything wrong with you, not because you're a bad actor, not because you're a new actor, not because you're relatively inexperienced, not because you haven't been cast in a while, not because you haven't been to an audition for a while. That's got nothing to do with it. Your body has read the situation wrong. Your body has read that you are in a dangerous situation. And this is something that is hardwired into us as humans. And other acting schools are not teaching you this. They're just saying, oh, you're nervous, you need to relax. Well, that's no good. You need to know how to relax. You need to know what's going on in your body. When you know that this is hardwired into your body and there is nothing wrong with you as an actor, you feel more assured and you become more empowered. So, okay, maybe we can accept that, yes, you are going to be judged to some degree on your performances, whether that be an audition, a stage play that you're doing with a live audience, or a film that you're doing. Yes, you are going to be judged to some degree. We have to accept this. And yes, you are putting yourself out there in a vulnerable position to receive criticism. So these can feel scary, these two things. However, it's not a critical situation. And when I say critical, I mean it's not life-threatening. So what we have to do is we have to train the body to recognise that whilst we might receive criticism and whilst we might be judged on our performances, we're not in danger. Our life is not being threatened. So in method acting, what we always focus on firstly is relaxing. Not just relaxing in the here and now, but training the body to relax for future performances. The way the group theatre describe it is that if you have a house, and let's say you've got something called the house of method acting, the foundations have to be very, 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 very strong. And the foundations as a method actor are relaxation. Because without those foundations, your performances are going to crumble and become chaotic. So you might have remembered I was talking about nerves being very subtle on the scale of 1 to 10. They can be even just as low as 1 and 2. But your performances are still going to become chaotic because you cannot access that pure imagination that I spoke about earlier. So when we train actors of all levels of experience in method acting, there are 3 exercises that we use at the beginning of all classes, which help you train your body to relax in performances and also recognise that performance is not a life-threatening situation. I know it sounds very dramatic, but I promise you now, whatever level of nerves you are experiencing, your body has read the situation wrong. But before I share with you what those 3 exercises are, there are some things that you need to know about nerves. Number 1, the more you worry about them, the more you become aware of them, the more you give them your energy and focus and attention, the bigger they are going to get. Number 2, when you are worrying about your performances, even if it's just something such as, have I done enough character prep work? Am I going to make the director proud? Do I know my lines well enough? Even those thoughts that I've just given you an example of, which can seem like low-level worries, they're still performance anxiety, they're still nerves. And what you are doing in that moment when you're thinking those things is you are doing something called future projecting. You're actually inducing the nerves by thinking those thoughts. And then the third thing you need to know about nerves is your body is letting you know you are not present when you're nervous. And presence is crucial for authentic performances. So what we want to start doing with nerves is recognizing, this is a signal. This is a signal that I am not present. So what are the 3 method acting exercises you need then to train your body to be present, to move away from the nerves and that situation of your body thinking you're in a life-threatening situ, to get you into your pure imagination? What do we need to do? The first exercise we need to use is the method's chair relaxation. The reason we need this is because it teaches you to connect deeper to your instrument. Now, if you're not sure what your instrument is, it's your body. It also trains your body for future roles that you'll be cast in to remind yourself that you need to be a blank canvas. Any amount of nervous energy disrupts this. It takes you into chaotic performances. Chaos doesn't have to be big. Chaos can be subtle. The second exercise that you need is the concentration exercise. This teaches you to be fully present with your senses. Very, very, very important because it teaches you to be present in the moment and it teaches you where your concentration needs to go. That's important for scenes because you need to know what to concentrate on to be able to get your imagination to flourish. Then the third exercise is sense memory. So this is where you're going to create a sensory object or experience, recreate a sensory object or experience, and this teaches you to get into your pure imagination. Now, these 3 exercises, they're not very exciting. What most actors want to do is skip them, jump straight into character, play out the scene in full, but actually that does you more harm than good. So even though these 3 foundational exercises are not that exciting, they're not as exciting as playing out a big angry scene or playing a serial killer, what they'll actually do is make you play that serial killer better, more authentically. So when I'm training my acting students inside the 10-week method acting modules and inside the method actor circle, these are the 3 foundational acting exercises we begin with. And then nerves no longer become a thing because the actor can get in control of them and knows how to get back into their imagination and away from that nervous energy. So I hope this has been useful for you. I hope it's been informative. If you like what I teach you in these episodes and you want to take it further and get more meat, then just go ahead, download your free copy of the Method Actors Handbook. I've linked it underneath this episode, and it includes a lot of practical method acting exercises that will make such a big difference to how truthful you can be with characters. And I'll see you in the next episode. I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors Handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.